Abel, July 31, 1952. Self-love and the universe. If a man changes himself, his view of the universe in which he lives changes also. The one cannot change without the other. Just as what he was becomes something different, so what he lives in becomes something different. He no longer feels himself in the same way as he once did, and he no longer feels the world in the same way as he did. What is your view of the universe in which you live? Perhaps you have taken it for granted just as you have taken yourself for granted. That is to say, you have not thought much about either. In my case, I could regard the universe simply as a vast machine, so vast that a ray of light which travels at 186,000 miles per second would take millions of years to cross it. It contains billions of stars, far more than we can see with the naked eye. These stars are arranged in great masses called galaxies. Our Sun is a star in our galaxy, the Milky Way. Our galaxy is shaped like a disk. As we are in the disk, looking upwards we see a thick band of stars overhead. There are about 100,000 million stars, like suns, in our galaxy. The 100 telescope at Mount Wilson in America has discovered that there are some 100 million of these galaxies within the limits of its range, which penetrates to a distance of 1 billion light years. Try to conceive for yourself the distance that light will travel in a single year going at a speed of 186,000 miles per second, which is a light year, and then try to conceive a distance of 1 billion light years. It is inconceivable to us, although it may not be to some greater mind. A ray of light starting from the second nearest star to us in our own galaxy, the Sun, is the nearest star to us, takes more than 4 years to reach us. This means that we see it where it was 4 years ago. We see the Sun, however, where it was 8 minutes ago. None of the stars, owing to their distances and the limited speed of light which crawls through interstellar space, is where it seems to be. In this universe, vast beyond belief, of incredible depths, the Earth swims as a minute speck illuminated on one side. On this half-dark, half-light speck, you and I, full of self-love and self-importance, exist as two still more infinitesimally minute specks. This is a situation in the visible universe in terms of physical magnitude, extended in a space of 3 dimensions. As regards that fourth or time dimension, it has a peculiar relationship to our present moment of time, because we do not see where the stars are, but where they were in the past. We see the universe in the past as it was. It would be awkward if the same thing happened to the objects in our room. We would see them, but not touch them. Now what is the effect of all this on the self-love? Does it make man walk more humbly before God, as the phrase goes? Does it diminish man's exalted idea of his own importance? It did once, but not now. Some centuries ago, when Galileo asserted that the Earth not only rotated, but moved round the Sun, man's self-love, not being able to adjust to this idea, was seriously offended, so much so that Galileo was had up by the Inquisition and had to recant in public. That was the occasion on which he muttered, "All the same, it does move equal see move." Hitherto people had actually thought that the minute speck, our Earth, was the immovable center of the entire universe with all its myriad stars, which obligingly and humbly revolved round it, together with the Sun, once in 24 hours. But there is always a way to reassert one's self-love if it receives a shock when faced by anything breathtaking or stupendous. One can scribble one's name on it. Seeing the Parthenon for the first time, one can at least scribble one's name on one of the pillars. By this bit of cheek the self-love, like a naughty boy, recovers its jauntiness. Some modern astronomers, seeing as the discovery of the wider range of the telescope has been made since the author's death, it has been thought advisable to amend the figure, to do much the same in regard to the universe. It is a favorite technique of the self-love to disparage whatever threatens its supremacy. One can always sneer. Science tells us that the universe, however gigantic, is nothing to feel any awe or wonder about. It came into existence accidentally and is meaningless. So that's that. Since self-love hates what is greater or superior to it, one suspects that this hatred, originating in the self-love, is behind the modern scientific negation of purpose and meaning in anything. Everything can be explained away, even the exquisite order that can be discerned in the structure of the most minute things such as atoms, as well as in the vast things such as solar systems and galaxies. Nature is viewed as a series of Chinese boxes, one within the other, and the scientists are already saying, "We hope quite soon to open the last, smallest, innermost box of all." They do not doubt that it will certainly be declared empty, whatever they find. When Jung said to Freud that many dreams had other interpretations than those of retrogressive sexual wish fulfillment and some showed useful prospective directions for personal development, he was told that that kind of thing must not be admitted. Jung refused not to admit it. Today the quarrel with science in general is with its interpretations, some of which are of amazingly poor quality. But many scientists are afraid to say what they think. To declare that there is intelligence behind the universe means ostracism. Now the idea of a mechanical, accidental, meaningless universe will not help man to raise the level of his being. It will have a contrary effect and naturally does. Feeling neither awe nor wonder, the self-love is not affected. It was said in the previous commentary that if the self-love remains just the same, no one can change in himself or herself. Although this was not much understood, I will only say that it is useless to argue about it. It is, of course, always the self-love that is arguing, being afraid to lose its power over you. Have you not noticed the self-love is very sensitive to attack? The work mentions two giants that walk before us and arrange everything for us beforehand. They are pride and vanity. These two aspects of the self-love are very sensitive to anything that might oppose them. They are cruel lords to serve. The work cannot walk before us, as it should in all things, as long as the strength of these two empty, mindless and barren giants is not diminished. Long observation of them does weaken them. But look for a moment at this. It is the quality of your love for the work that determines your valuation of it and its power to change you. If this love is distinct from your self-love, then your observation of the giants will begin to weaken them. The work weakens them, but if your love of the work is only another manifestation of your self-love, your observation of the giants will not weaken but strengthen them. Now we know, from the teaching of the work, that the universe is a creation, and not a dead, inexplicable, accidental and meaningless thing. It is a living thing of systems within systems, each with purpose and meaning, each living and capable of developing or degenerating. We are created in it with purpose and meaning, living and capable of development or degeneration. Humanity on the earth is, in fact, a special experiment in self-evolution. Something more is demanded of us than simply living and making our living. It is this something extra that we study by means of the work teachings. The work is about this something extra. So on the one hand, as I said at the beginning, I can regard the universe as a vast machine, accidental, meaningless and dead, or I can look on it in the light of what the work says about it. Which attitude is likely to diminish my self-love and so change me? I leave you to answer for me and for yourself. I mentioned at the beginning that probably you have not thought much about the universe and so have no view of it. You take it for granted. Yet it is what you exist in. The work emphatically calls attention to it. But people are scarcely aware even that they live in the solar system. It seems strange that they will not extend their consciousness even to this extent. Can you guess the reason?